Hey everyone, it's Will Gans, and I am here with Sean Maguire, who plays Robin Hood on Once Upon a Time. And while you guys are tuning in, while you're catching up, I want to disclaim right now that there will be spoiler alerts all over the place. So if you haven't watched last night's episode, now is your chance to turn the phone off, throw it across the room, whatever you need to do, because we plan on talking about everything and anything. We've been taking some of your questions on Twitter all day and since last night. And like I said, everything is on the table. So I'm going to move over here and we'll get started. You ready, Sean?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. All right, so like I said, spoiler alerts. Here we go.
Okay.
Is Robin dead? Is he dead? Is this the end?
Well, if he's not, burying him was a terrible idea. Yeah, I think Robin is dead. Now, you know, on any other show, that would definitely mean that would be that. But you know, Once Upon a Time being what it is, you can't say with certainty. But I think the way that it's been orchestrated, that we did say goodbye to Robin last night.
Okay, so when did you find out that Robin was dying, and how did you find out?
Adam and Eddie, our showrunners, called me in January, or near the end of January, and explained that this is where the story was going to go, and we discussed it, and they discussed the reasoning and why, and that was it really. And then it was just sort of tough to try and keep this secret from everybody. Well, obviously I spoke to my castmates and stuff, and we all discussed it. And you know, it's sad. I mean, it's not a shock on a show like this. Lots of big characters have died. But for me personally, I had a great relationship and continue to have a great relationship with the cast and crew. And so, you know, the toughest bit is sort of saying goodbye to people that I've become very close to and seeing them on a daily basis. But, you know, people like Colin and Bobby and most of the cast will always remain friends. So it's been a really special job in that respect.
So, saying goodbye to your cast, did they do anything special for you? How was that, filming your last episode?
We had like a couple of months you know, and I'm not a big one for dramatic goodbyes and stuff like that. And also because, you know, a lot of us do fan conventions. I'm going to be with Lana and Colin and Liam and, you know, half the cast in Paris in a few months, and some of us, Rebecca and I and Victoria Smith, are going to Brazil. So I sort of said, look, let's not say goodbye, because I'm going to see you guys in 2 weeks and 3 weeks and whatever. So the tougher bit really was sort of for the fans, because I know how emotionally invested a lot of them are in the Robin and Regina story, and Robin being a dad and Robin leaving his children orphaned and stuff. I think for a show about hope, this felt kind of quite down for them. So I feel compassion, and I feel sort of emotional responsibility for that. But at the end of the day, I'm the actor, and my job is just to serve what the writing suggests. No
matter how bad everyone wants you to do otherwise. But so how did you take it when you got that call in January? Were you surprised? Were you sad?
Yeah, I mean, initially I was very surprised, because I felt that the character had sort of not had much of screen time or been developed this season. But we had very big stories, and I just thought, you know what, I think that because Dark Swan was the first part of the season, and then sort of Saving Hook was the second, I just thought, well, you know what, it's a big show with a big cast, and maybe they'll get around to some of the things that they've alluded to, you know, in the writing previously. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. But I mean, in perspective, I've been a professional actor for 30 years, and this is like my 27th show or something. So as an actor, it's not a shock. Shows change direction, characters die, or characters get married and stay on, or so it's not a huge surprise from a career point of view. But in just where the story looked to be going, it was a bit of a shock. But at the same time, the show that I was on previous to Once Upon a Time was a really great show called Scott and Bailey, and I had a great relationship with the cast on that, and then really enjoyed it. And when I was leaving it, I was like, oh, I'm sad to be leaving you guys, not knowing that Once Upon a Time was around the corner. So I sort of feel the same sort of excitement and optimism about what I'm going to do next.
Sure. Before you left the one set, did you take anything as a souvenir? Did you grab any of those arrows that they...
You know what I did? I took one thing. I took my scarf, like Robin's scarf. I tend to always just take one thing from each job as a memento. And I'll often save the chair back. You know, you have your name on the chair.
Sure.
Just I don't know, tradition, habit. And I forgot the chair back, so I think Colin's going to have to grab that for me. But again, I try not to get too sentimental or emotional about it because A, you never know when forever is forever, and B, as I say, the idea of playing a new character and taking on something new and, you know, doing something in maybe a different format is also very appealing and exciting to me. So, you know, it's a mixed bag.
Cool. Speaking of set prop pieces, stuff like that, how was it working with a bow and arrow? Did you have to train? Like, was it really
No,
you?
not really. I mean, the thing is, it's for legal or safety reasons, we can't actually have me drawing an arrow and standing in front of someone.
That probably makes sense, yeah.
So a lot of the time the arrow was CGI. It was really just about how you hold the bow and stuff. But I'm clumsy, and so I was knocking people, I banged people, and then I've got the quiver with the arrows sticking out. So yeah, it was a bit of a pain in the bum, the bows and arrows, but very much an essential part of Robin Hood. So I learned to get a little bit more sort of adjusted to it, and yeah, it's fun to do that heroic stuff. That's one of the appeals of the character.
If you weren't playing Robin Hood, who else on the show would you like to play?
I think the villains tend to get the most fun. They tend to get the best lines and the most dramatic, juicy bits. So I guess a villain would be my first choice, probably Mr. Gold or even Regina. I don't know if I'd be well cast in the role.
That'd be interesting seeing you playing Regina.
Yeah, it'd be a very different show.
Speaking of Regina, if you could say anything to her, she's your partner in crime. Everybody's tweeting, you know, about her and about you. If you could say anything to her, what would you say?
Somebody look after my children, please, because I guess they're orphans now, or at least one of them is an orphan. So yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that or how, but I guess that's we'll see somewhere down the line.
Do you think that that's an option that Regina will?
Honestly, I haven't given it any thought. So many things have been going on since leaving the show that to sort of hypothesise about where the characters are going is probably the last thing that's been on my mind. It's been more about moving back to Los Angeles and then travelling the world, and so it's been a very frantic couple of months.
Of course. So I'm gonna bring in a question from Twitter.
Okay.
At SassyLibrarian1.
Hello, Sassy Librarian 1.
She would like to know, or he, I don't want to, yeah. What was the one thing you loved the most about working with Lana?
Well, there were lots of things. I mean, we laughed a lot, you know, they're long days, and if you can enjoy a joke with somebody, I mean, she's very dedicated to her craft and she's a serious actress, but she also could have fun, and I think when you can have that kind of relationship with somebody, it makes the days go a little easier. And also, you know, I was taught many, many years ago, don't play tragedy tragically, meaning don't get wallowed in a mire, and you can get into that acting thing of, you know, living the role. And these are fairy tale stories. It's important to give them their due and their dedication, but also you want to enjoy the job and enjoy the experience, and that's something that we managed to do quite well together.
Do you guys as a cast spend a lot of time laughing, you know, in between takes, offset?
Yeah. I mean, it's like any job. I think in any office there are days when you come home and go, what a great bunch. I had real fun at work today. And then there are days when it's work, you know, and everybody's tired or dealing with their own issues at home. But it's a very normal workplace environment. But I think one thing I would say is that we all feel very privileged that we get to do what we do. I don't think any of us take for granted the fortunate position we find ourselves in.
Brandon Moore on Twitter asked, do you have a favorite scene or moment from your time on the show? If so, what was it?
I really enjoyed, me and Hook only got a few scenes together this season, but I really enjoyed it because Colin and I get along great. So that was fun. The Robin Hood-centric episode, there was really only one episode where they kind of focused in on the character, but it was nice to get a bit more time to let the character breathe a little bit more, because a lot of it was clipped, and even some stuff that I shot just, you know, for time purposes or moving the story forward, never made it to the screen. So that episode I think was particularly nice to let the character have some time to be Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. Allison Lynn, this is one of, you know how I'm saying people are freaking out on Twitter. Why do bad things happen to good people? Why, Sean? Why? About 16 whys. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think that as upsetting as it may be for fans of the show that loved Robin or Robin and Regina, the show's sort of built on conflict and resolution, and with certainly another season to go, at least one more, if not many more. Maybe they needed the evil queen back. Maybe, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea where the show's direction is going to go. I mean, that's really for Adam and Eddie to say. But, I've often said when people say, why is it so tough, especially for Regina? I'm like, well, she killed a lot of people at the beginning. So she's got quite a journey of redemption. And maybe she's going to carry on redeeming herself, or maybe she will falter back into her own ways. But I really couldn't answer.
That is one of the fan theories, I think, that people are most interested to see is, will Robin's death, how will that turn her? And you guys have got us just like waiting on the edge of our seats.
Well, I think that's what Adam and Eddie want. They want to put things in place that are going to draw the audience in a compulsive way to stay with it. Now, whether killing Robin, draws people further in, or I know some people feel like, no, you know what, I don't want to watch anymore. But what I would say is I hope that people continue to watch, because I love my castmates, I love my crew, and I want Once Upon a Time to flourish for many more years to come.
Well, it definitely will, especially if we get to see more Robin and at least some flashbacks, something. There's a lot of magic going on in Storybrooke and elsewhere, so, fingers crossed that you'll make a comeback. Nicole TV on Twitter is asking, Robin was a hero in fiction. Sean Maguire is a hero to so many fans. Who are some of your own personal heroes?
Oh, gosh, there's so many. Every day there's somebody that I'm inspired by, but they're often more not celebrity people. I'm going to a gala thing tonight for the Robin Hood Foundation, which over the last 20 years has raised $11 billion to fight poverty in New York City. And there are so many countless volunteers and people that do all of this incredible stuff, stop children from sleeping out in the cold, feed them, clothe them, and they don't get any recognition. They don't get any kind of rewards. Single mums who work 2 jobs or 3 jobs and come home and still manage to be a great parent. They're people that I kind of consider to be heroes, and they're often the ones that are the least unsung. So, yeah, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't sort of tip of the cap to them.
Sure. The Robin Hood Foundation, is that something that you got into post Once Upon a Time or before?
I was asked to speak on. I looked into the organisation and was kind of blown away by what they did, and thought how wonderful it would be if we could have a Robin Hood organisation in London and in LA and in Paris and in because what they do, I mean, they bring some of the greatest people in the city, some of the biggest, most powerful media moguls and captains of industry, and they really can use that weight and that power to affect change. I mean, things like 24,000 children every month are sleeping in shelters in New York, one of the richest cities in the world. Facts like that eluded me, and so yeah, when I read up on them, and then I was asked to speak on their behalf to the Huffington Post, which I was very honoured to do. And then the relationship is continuing and will continue, even post the show. Even if Robin is dead or not, I guess I still get to be Robin.
That's nice. That's awesome. So what do you want to say, kind of changing gears here, what do you want to say to the fans who are tweeting at you, who are throwing their remotes at the TV after last night's episode, to the people who watch every week for Robin Hood?
Thank you. I've never, 35 years of doing this as a professional actor, I've never had a response or a feeling of love and support that I've got from the fans of the show, and they are the biggest element. I mean, outside of the friendships that I've garnered, the fans have been extraordinary to me, and I go to a different city every month at the moment, whether it's Rio or Paris or London or Chicago, and I feel that I'm meeting 1,000 or 2,000 friends that I had never met before, and their stories that somehow the show has helped them or brought them together with other people, and they've made friendships through that. I mean, it's really extraordinary, something that I've not, in all honesty, ever experienced from a TV show. So I'm just eternally grateful to them, and I want them to know that I am not. Robin may be gone, but I'm not, and I'll still be there for them through social media, or whether it's meeting them at the conventions or whatever it is. I'll still be present in their lives.
Cool. And what's next for you, Sean?
Well, at first I'm going to take a break because I've been filming and travelling and also working on another project that I'm writing. So I'm going to have a little break and be a bit of a dad for a minute. But then there's 2 projects. I don't know whether I can do both or whether it's going to be one or the other. But I'm in a sort of developmental stage and discussing things and talking about all the ins and outs of the character, because I want to be very thorough about what I choose next. And I want... and it will more than likely be quite a departure from what people have seen me as Robin Hood.
So maybe something comedic, is that?
Well, I've sort of said in public before, the thing that I'm writing is comedic, and I may or may not be in that. I may just produce and write that. But it depends on the other projects. There's 2 projects at the moment that are just acting, and they're both dramatic, but they're just very different tonally from Once Upon a Time. So, yeah, I'm going to kind of keep mum about that until I've signed on the dotted line. But they're both very exciting and interesting.
So we'll keep that stuff under wraps for now. But you're also a singer. Is there any music on the horizon?
No. I had a pop career when I was 18 to 21, and it was not something that I ever planned. It was just something that sort of happened through a series of bizarre circumstances. And it's something that I really enjoyed, and I look back on it with really fond memories. But it's not something that I enjoy just playing the guitar and singing for fun, but not. I have no desire to sort of make a record or go on tour or anything. I feel like I did that and kind of want to go back to my day job.
Sure. What music do you listen to now? If you were gonna just jam out with any artist.
Well, I have a 10-month-old son, and I just absolutely my favourite thing in the world is sharing music with him, because he's only 10 months, and they either react in a very like, wow, I love this, which he does completely with the Beatles and Stevie Wonder and Simon and Garfunkel and Otis Redding and David Bowie and things like that. And so I'm really happy that he's got great taste in music. So just sharing, just playing the Beatles to him for the first time the other day, and I could just see his reaction like, what is this? This is amazing. Because he literally crawls over to the speaker and picks the speaker up. And so things like that, that's kind of why I want to take a little bit of time off and just enjoy being a dad without having to be Robin Hood for a minute.
Nicole TV, who we got another question from.
Yes,
earlier.
I know Nicole.
Yes,
Nicole.
I
know her through Twitter. She's a lovely girl.
She wants to know, now that your days as Robin are, maybe not officially done, but for now on hold.
Sure.
Would you ever be interested in playing James Bond?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't? I don't think that's a job most actors would turn down. I think that there's a criteria to be James Bond. I don't know if I tick all those boxes. I think you have to be maybe a bit more of an established movie star. But I think Daniel Craig changing the franchise in the way that he has was brilliant for the franchise. But I also kind of feel like whoever's next has got an incredibly tough pair of shoes to fill. I certainly wouldn't want... You kind of want a bad Bond, somebody that everybody doesn't like, and then to go after that, because Daniel Craig sort of has just kind of smashed it. And, he really... And I have to be honest, I didn't really see him as James Bond before he did Casino Royale, and gosh, did he prove everybody wrong and just really kind of made it his own. So, but yes, that would be... that being in one of the Star Wars movies, they're the kind of things you go, yeah, that's the lottery win.
Sure.
So yes, I'll take it. Thank you.
All right. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks, man.
It's been great. I'll let you get to your son. Everybody, thanks so much for joining us on our live stream here. Sean, thanks so much for coming by.
Cheers.
All right.
Well done. Good holding. Good steady handling.
I gotcha.
Is that periscope or is it?
Yes.